This journey took place in January of 2022. This marked my second trip with the Viking Cruise Line. Previously, I was on a river cruise, but this will be the first time I was trying the ocean cruise line. After getting our necessary PCR requirements to fly, we were ready to begin our journey to Greece. The cruise we booked was titled Journey to Antiquities, where we were set to explore the lands of ancient empires. We would travel through waters once ruled by mighty empires and flourishing city-states during an 8-day cruise from Athens to Rome. Along the way, discover Crete, the former seat of the once flourishing Minoan kingdom, and visit Messina, Sicily's cultural crossroads. Piraeus, located 6 miles southwest of central Athens, is a city unto itself. This is the biggest port in the Mediterranean, with 20 million people passing through each year. It has its own character and a long history stretching back to ancient times. The area has been inhabited since the 26th century BC. Athens has long been defined by its ancient past. Here, after all, is the birthplace of democracy, a seaside capital where sun-bleached relics like the Parthenon, Hadrian's Arch, and the ancient Agora continue to stand. After the ancient Greek Empire fell, Athens was reduced to a pastoral village, which it remained until its establishment as modern Greece's capital in the 1880s. The ancient Greeks, who reached their golden age apex in Athens in the 5th century BC, have had an unmatched impact on European and American culture. The National Archaeological Museum is far and away the top ancient Greek art collection anywhere. Ancient Greece set the tone for all Western art that followed, and this museum lets you trace its evolution. From 7000 BC to 500 AD, through beautifully displayed and described exhibits on one floor. You'll see the rise and fall of Greece's various civilizations, the Minoans, the Mycenaeans, those archaic Greece, the Classical Age, and Alexander the Great, and even the Romans who came from the West. You can also watch Greek sculpture evolve, from prehistoric Barbie dolls to stiff Egyptian style to David-like balance of the Golden Age to the Buccan Bronco Hellenistic, and finally to the influence of the Romans. The National Archaeological Museum is the single best place on Earth to see ancient Greek artifacts. Strolling through the chronologically displayed collection from 7000 BC to 500 AD is like watching a time-lapse movie of the evolution of art. You'll go from the stylized figurines of the Cycladic Islands to the golden artifacts of the Mycenaeans. You'll enter an era of the Archaic Age, followed by the Bronze, and finally, Classic period of Athens and Greece. Towering over the modern metropolis of 4.5 million, as it once stood over the ancient capital of 50,000, the Acropolis has remained Athens' most spectacular attraction ever since its first settlement around 5000 BC. It has been a religious center long before Athens became a major city-state in the 6th century BC. It has been associated with Athena ever since the city's mythological founding, but eventually all of the city's other religious cults had temples or shrines here as well. As Athens became the dominant city-state in the 5th century BC, Pericles led the city in making the Acropolis the crowning symbol of Athenian power and successful democracy. Since the Periclean age, the buildings of the Acropolis have been inflicted with the damages of war, as well as unscrupulous transformations into, at various times, a Florentine palace, an Islamic mosque, a Turkish harem, and a World War II sentry. The term Acropolis is translated to mean high city, and today's traveler who climbs this table-like hill is paying tribute to the prime source of civilization as we know it. The Acropolis is a true testament to the golden age of Greece. while archaeological evidence has shown that the flat-top limestone outcrop 512 feet high attracted settlers as early as Neolithic times. Most of its most imposing structures were built from 461 to 429 BC, when the intellectual and artistic life of Athens flowered under the influence of the Athenian statesman Pericles. Even in its bleak and silent state, the Parthenon temple that crowns the rise has the power to stir the heart as few other ancient relics can do. The theater, or Odeon, was constructed in 161 AD by Herodes Atticus. Over the years, the theater fell into disrepair. However, in the 1950s, the ruined theater was reconstructed. This large 5,000-seat amphitheater was built during the Roman era, and it is still used today for performances. From high above, you get a good look at the stage setup. The three-quarter circle floor was the stage. There, musicians and actors performed in the Greek style. Rising behind it are the overgrown remnants of a raised stage and a stage wall for the backdrop. You enter the Acropolis complex through a late Roman structure named for the French archaeologist Ernest Biolet, who discovered the gate in 1852. The gate is made of marble fragments from the destroyed monument of Nicias on the southern slope of the Acropolis. Before Roman times, the entrance to the Acropolis was a steep processional ramp below the temple of Athena Nike. This sacred way was used every fourth year of the Pantheonic procession, a spectacle that honored Athena's remarkable birth, when she sprang from the head of her father, Zeus. The 2nd century traveler Pausanias referred to this fabled temple as the Temple of Nike Apteros, or wingless victory. For in Athens they believe victory will stay forever because she has no wings. This mini temple was built in 427 to 424 BC to celebrate peace with Persia. This imposing structure was designed to instill the proper reverence in worshippers as they crossed from the temporal world into the spiritual world of the sanctuary, for this was the main function of the Acropolis. Conceived to be the same size as the Parthenon, the Propylaea was to have been the grandest secular building in Greece. Construction was suspended during the Peloponnesian War, and it was never finished. For the populace, this much smaller temple, not the Parthenon, remained Athena's holiest shrine. Legend has it that on this spot, Poseidon plunged his trident into the rock, dramatically producing a spring of water, whereas Athena created a simple olive tree, whose fruit remains a main staple of Greek society. A panel of judges declared her the winner, and the city was named Athens. A gnarled olive tree still grows outside the Erechthion's west wall, where Athena's tree once grew, and marks said to be from Poseidon's trident can be seen on a rock wedged in a hole near the north porch. The Parthenon is the sacred hill's showstopper. It is the finest temple of the ancient world, standing on the highest point of the Acropolis, 490 feet above sea level. The Parthenon is now largely in ruins. However, imagine how awesome the Parthenon must have looked when it was completed nearly 2,500 years ago. It is the largest Doric temple in Greece, 228 feet long and 101 feet wide. Its footprint covers more than 23,000 square feet. The Parthenon served the cult of Athena the Virgin, with a statue of the goddess inside. It also served as a Fort Knox-like treasury of Athens. This awe-inspiring temple was completed in less than a decade. The Acropolis Museum is built over an archaeological site, and the architects cleverly constructed a glass walkway so you can see the excavation below as you walk into the museum. These ruins of an ancient Athenian neighborhood were uncovered during the Acropolis Museum's construction and had to be preserved and integrated into a new building plan. Discoveries from the slopes of the Acropolis fill the entryway gallery. The floor slopes upward, depicting the climb up to the sacred hill, while giving glimpses of ruins beneath the museum's foundation. Objects here include votive offerings from sanctuaries, and near the entrance, 2 clay statues of Nike. The first floor is a veritable forest of statues, mostly offerings to Athena. These include stunning examples of 6th century Cora or maiden statues. They depict young women in draped clothing and elaborate braids. The Acropolis Museum made world headlines when it opened to the public in June of 2009. The museum drew 90,000 visitors in its first month and proved it is spacious enough to accommodate large crowds. Regal glass walkways, very high ceilings, and panoramic views are all part of this experience. In the 5-level museum, every shade of marble is on display and bathed in an abundant UV-safe natural light. This shrine to athletics has had many names. Officially, it is known as the Panathenaic Stadium, built in the 4th century BC to host the Panathenaic Games, although sometimes it is referred to as the Roman Stadium because it was rebuilt by the great Roman benefactor Herodes Atticus in the 2nd century AD. The stadium was restored to its former glory in preparation for the first modern Olympic Games in 1896. It saw Olympic action again in 2004, when it provided a grand finish for the marathon. A true 2-room suite, Viking's Explorer Suite features a separate living and dining room, along with a bedroom which contains an ensuite bathroom. The living room features a generously sized sitting area with a flat-screen television, a dining room where you can take room service meals, and access to a veranda. This generously sized stateroom feels like a home on the high seas. The Viking Explorer Suite provides plenty of storage space. There are 2 closet areas to hang up your outfits, along with several dresser drawers. Viking Explorer Suite bedroom has floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the bow of the ship. The room can be set up in 2 different configurations, either as a 1 queen or 2 twins. Viking's award-winning bathrooms are designed to help you relax and indulge. In the Explorer Suite bathroom, we are able to enjoy the luxury of double sinks with premium Freya bath products. There are heated floors and a heated towel rack. Also, you can find a fog-free mirror. All of these special touches allow you to feel pampered as you travel from one destination to the next. The bathroom features a walk-in large shower which offers strong water pressure and easy-to-use control. The Viking Explorer Suite's veranda is one of the ship's most spacious. The veranda provides ample space to relax and take in the vistas of your journey. The veranda features plenty of seating to provide a view of the open seas as you arrive to the day's next port of call. The atrium's lobby is also where you can find the ship's gangway entrance for disembarkation and embarkation areas. At the atrium lobby, there are also 6 internet terminals located behind a wall. The beauty salon is served by certified beauty therapists and hairdressers. It offers hair and nail services for women, which includes manicures, pedicures, haircuts, coloring, and styling. In the treatment rooms, you can receive professional massages, facials, and body scrubs. The fitness center is adjacent to the Live Nordic Spa. This is a small gym room with floor-to-ceiling windows and modern techno gym equipment. There you can find treadmills, elliptical trainers, stationary bikes, free weights, and resistant machines. Personal training is also available at an extra charge. Each of the changing rooms has its own small pool, sauna room, showers, and a relaxation area with floor-to-ceiling windows, cushioned chairs, and a water dispenser. The spa complex has a snow room, the first ever at sea. There are unisex saunas, steam rooms, treatment rooms, and a thermal suite. The snow room, aka the snow grotto, features snowflakes descending from the ceiling. The Live Nordic Spa promotes the repetition of cold and hot therapies, which boosts blood circulation, body detoxification, and muscle relaxation. In the atrium's level 2 and 3, the upper level of the living room, you can find comfortable seating, 4-seat tables, where you can find playing cards, and popular board games including Monopoly, Scrabble, and chess. On Deck 9, you can find the open-air sports deck, which features a gym area equipped with outdoor fitness and workout stations. There's also an open-air yoga practice spot and golf putting greens. There's a wraparound jogging and walking track, and a deck games area which features shuffleboard and bocce. Deck 9 also has a small sun deck for open-air relaxation that you can find around the golf course. Here, you will find wicker armchairs and couches. The shops are the ship's duty-free shopping arcade, which features retail shops and boutiques. There's a jewelry boutique which sells brand jewelry, watches, and accessories. There's also a fashion store which offers luxury sunglasses, bags, and top-quality sweaters. You can find a convenience store here as well, which sells liquor, tobacco, sundries, sweets, and snacks. Another shop sells name-brand cosmetics and perfumes. On select evenings at the shops, you can find promotional events which features jewelry and precious gems. Here you can find the Infinity Edge pool and an additional whirlpool. The Infinity Edge pool is glass-backed and cantilevered off the ship's stern. In the atrium's level 2 and 3, the upper level of the living room, you can find the Viking Heritage Museum. It provides information on the Norwegian and Viking history, with high-quality replicas of weaponry, clothing, and jewelry. The main pool area features a rectangular swimming pool, a large whirlpool, a lanai area for sunbathing, and 2 poolside stations for drinks and food. In inclement weather, the whole area is covered by a retractable glass roof. The lanai, the sunbathing area around the pool, is furnished with comfortable lounge chairs, and each pair has a small table in between. The Viking Ocean cruise line even has laundry facilities available to their guests free of charge. This is a great way to cut back on your packing. Midway through our cruise, we were able to wash our clothes so that we would have clean clothes for our extension in Rome. The Star Theater is the ship's main show lounge for grand-style musical and show productions in the evenings. This includes concerts, live comedy performances, and itinerary-themed dance shows with local performers. This is also the venue where you can come and enjoy some port talks. In the back of the Star Theater, there are 2 cinema rooms, which features stadium-style seating. Nightly, though, this is where you can see some popular movies complemented with freshly popped popcorn. Nestled around a turquoise blue harbor, Chania is a relic of the people who passed through here. Venetians, Andalusian Arabs, Ottoman Turks, Genoese, and Egyptians, just to name the more recent ones. Modern Chania, however, has a university and a big student population that ensures plenty of activity year-round. The sizable old town is strung along the harbor, divided by centuries-old seawall into outer and inner harbors. This is where you'll find tall Venetian houses facing a pedestrian-only, taverna-lined waterside walkway, and fishing boats moored besides a long stretch of Venetian arsenals and warehouses. Well-preserved Venetian and Turkish quarters surround the harbors and covered food and spice markets. A remnant of Venetian trade and Turkish bazaars is set amid a maze of narrow streets. Chania is Crete's most evocative city, with its pretty Venetian quarter crisscrossed by narrow lanes and culminating at the magnificent harbor. Remnants of Venetian and Turkish architecture are abound, with old townhouses now transformed into atmospheric restaurants and boutique hotels. It takes some luck getting out of Chania. Not only will the winding, colorful streets have you walking in charmed circles, but also this is far and away the most beautiful city on Crete, one of the most stunning in all of Greece, and some even say the most gorgeous on the whole Mediterranean. Even if you don't get lost, you'll find it hard to leave ever. Chania surrendered its role as capital of Crete to Heraclion in 1971, but this elegant city of eucalyptus-lined avenues, miles of waterfront promenades, and shady cobbled alleyways lined with Venetian and Ottoman houses is still close to the heart of all Cretans. It was here that the Greek flag was raised in 1913 to mark Crete's unification with Greece, and the place is simply one of the most beautiful of all Greek cities. Today's excursion was the scenic Chania by foot. We explored the vibrant Chania, one of the oldest cities in Europe, during a walking excursion through its old town. Chania was once a major city-state of the mysterious Minoan kingdom. Modern Chania was built upon the foundations of the Greek city of Cydonia. Its importance led to several waves of occupation over the centuries, remnants of which can be seen in the mix of Eastern and Western influences that permeate the city today. As we meet our knowledgeable guide, we set off on a walking winding streets tour of the charming town of Chania. Here we saw Ottoman mosques, Minoan ruins, and Byzantine churches. We strolled through the promenade and seen the picturesque Venetian harbor. And we admired the Venetian ramparts, old dockyards, and the 15th century lighthouse. The restaurant is an open-seating main dining room with a daily changing menu. Here you are served local specialties alongside traditional American fare. The restaurant prides itself on providing the freshest food ingredients which are locally sourced or delivered via port of call on the cruise itinerary. At lunch and dinner you are offered complimentary house wines by the glass or even beer. The main dining room is open for breakfast and dinner, both with open seating arrangements. The main dining room features panoramic floor-to-ceiling windows and plenty of 2-seat tables or even larger 8-seat tables if you plan to have a meal with a new friend. The Explorer's Lounge is an indoor observation lounge with panoramic 2-story high glass walls. Here in the evenings, you can find live performances by a resident pianist, guitarist, or a classic trio. This is also the venue where they've provided daily trivia nights. The lounge is served by its own bar and has a small terrace open-air seating area as well. The second floor of the Explorer's Lounge can be found on Deck 8. This indoor observation lounge features live music in the evenings. The lounge decor features maritime artifacts and a selection of bestseller books alongside comfortable seating. The 2-story high glass walls are transformed at night and features lit up constellations. Mamson's Deli is a small buffet-style food station which is connected to the Explorer's Lounge. The deli is open for breakfast, lunch, afternoon snacks, and late-night snacks as well. At breakfast time, this little eatery is very quiet. In the morning, you can have your coffee, which is strong and hearty, and you can find it served in a unique crockery, which is an exact replica of Hagen's great aunts from 1970. For breakfast, your menu choice is limited to 3 types of traditional Danish pastries and the signature family recipe waffle dish. The deli offers gourmet quick bites and sweets. Its menu includes specialties from the Viking Cruise President's Mom's cookbook, such as warm sandwiches. There is also a daily soup option which stays on the menu as a late-night snack. There are also a range of traditional cakes and cookies to delight the sweet tooth among us, with intriguing names such as Success Cake and Princess Cake, alongside a delicious apple cake. The pool bar is open between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. It is here where you can order soft drinks, beer, cocktails, wine by the glass, or even a daily drink special. The pool grill is located at one end of the main central pool and offers plenty of seating both at tables and on bar stools. This venue is only open for lunch from midday until late in the afternoon. The food on the menu is grill-type fare and features items such as burgers, hot dogs, and steak baguettes. There is also a self-service salad bar. The Pool Grill, open between 11:30 a.m. and 5 p.m., is a fast food bar offering made-to-order burgers, including vegetarian, French fries, chicken sandwiches, and grilled fish. There's a separate salad bar which offers make-your-own style options. As you continue through the living room, you will find Manfredi's, one of 2 complimentary but bookable specialty restaurants on board Viking ships. In a nod to Viking Cruisers founder Torstein Hagen's friendship with Silver Sea Cruisers founder Manfredi Lavere, this restaurant offers traditional Italian cuisine in a homely trattoria setting. You need to stop and admire the photographs adorning the walls throughout the restaurant. They are certain to bring a smile to your face. Guests are all guaranteed at least one visit to Manfredi's on their voyage, which is bookable in advance depending on your room category. Once on board, there may be the option to book other dates depending on availability. The food in Manfredi's is delicious, and the menu is so vast that you can come back here a half dozen times and still have dishes you want to try. Among the dishes that deserve special mention is the amazing bread basket and the delicious gnocchi, along with guest favorites bistecca florentina. In addition, the wines match the food perfectly. Make sure you're very hungry if you're going to stop by Manfredi's. The Aquavit Terrace is an al fresco outdoor seating relaxation area which has food serviced via the World Cafe buffet. The Aquavit Terrace has floor-to-ceiling sliding door windows. With a button push, it could be transformed from an indoor dining place into an outdoor observation lounge. The Viking Bar is the 24-hour open lobby bar, which features specialty coffees, classic and made-to-order cocktails, gourmet sweets, and light snacks. This is where you can go for pastries, cakes, and sandwiches. The Viking Bar also serves both levels of the living room. The living room is the name for the ship's 3-deck high atrium. This is an open-floor design, lounge, and relaxation area, which features live music performances in the evening and various daily organized activities and special events. Part of the atrium's lobby level is a small pastry shop named the Viking Living Room. Its display case offers complimentary sweets and fresh-made snacks. Here you can find pastries, croissants, muffins, cookies, chocolates, and mini sandwiches. The atrium's seating areas are furnished with comfortable leather furniture, which consists of couches and armchairs. Its decor also features numerous artworks, shelved books, plenty of light, and 2 upper levels which overlook the lobby area. Here you can find board games, cards, and usually a puzzle. The first station in the World Cafe buffet is the cold cuts section, which includes all your cold meats and cheeses, alongside yogurts, fruits, and cereals. Next up, we have the hot sections where you can get your traditional breakfast items such as bacon and eggs and hash browns. There is also Eggs Benedict available, and you can even go to a made-to-order section for omelets and Viking's famous waffles. Next is the bakery, which offers a huge selection of pastries and muffins and even some delicious croissants. The World Cafe is the ship's buffet-style restaurant. Here you can have breakfast, lunch, or dinner. The World Cafe features an open kitchen and floor-to-ceiling windowed walls. Like at the restaurant, weather permitting, the windows can be opened and tables are set up outside, and the cafe is transformed into al fresco dining. During lunch and dinner time, there are wine and beer options to go alongside the soft drinks available. Evenings in the World Cafe are relatively quiet. No wonder with all the other wonderful dining venues offered throughout the ship. But this food is a cut above most other buffets you might find on other cruise lines. Believe it or not, they even had a Chateaubriand offered on one evening. The Winter Garden is an elegant conservatory-style venue located at the end of the gorgeous central pool area, which features a canopy of Scandinavian trestled wood filtering sunlight through its latticed branches. Sylvan water features and crystalline statues give an overall relaxing feel of a forest glade well within a luxurious lounge-type seating area. Every day between 3 and 5 p.m., the whole area becomes the focus of the formal afternoon tea. Guests will be entertained by live music either on the piano or guitar. As well as a huge choice of teas, the food selection varies every day. Guests will find a plate of sandwiches, a plate of scones served with clotted cream and jam, alongside a plate of cakes and sweet treats. The Torshaven Lounge is the ship's piano bar dancing lounge, and disco nightclub. It is open between the hours of 9 p.m. and midnight. The entertainment options range from daily live performances by a resident pianist, musical reviews in the evenings, and nightly live band music to provide for dance parties. The kitchen table is the only restaurant aboard the ship that charges a $300 per person fee. This is a private, kitchen-like dining room. This experience starts with a chef-guided food market visit in the morning, while the ship is docked in port. On this land tour, participants go ashore for shopping at a local food market. At dinner time, the kitchen table room transforms into an open kitchen where under the chef's guidance they prepare a special meal. After preparation, you will receive a multi-course dinner which lasts about 3.5 hours, and it is paired with premium wines and a sommelier service. The chef's table menu is rotational, and it consists of themed cuisine specialties, which includes Asian, Indian, and Italian. Dinner consists of a 5-course event. Each course comes with complimentary wine pairings. Brimming with rugged natural beauty, Sicily has been shaped by countless civilizations, from Greek to Byzantine to Roman. When it fell under Spain's purview in the 17th century, it was celebrated as one of Europe's 10 great cities. Surrounded by undulating mountains, orange and olive groves, and vineyards, its location at the northeast tip of Sicily puts it within just 2 miles of the Italian mainland, long making it a cultural and commercial crossroads. During World War II, Messina was the destination of the unofficial Race to Messina between U.S. General Patton and British Field Marshal Montgomery. In the end, Patton arrived just hours before his British comrade, receiving credit for securing Sicily. Along our excursion, we were able to stop at a local coffee shop. The coffee shop had plenty of amazing-looking sweets and pastries. However, I did not indulge in the temptation. I did try some espresso, which Italy is known for. The coffee was strong, but it tasted very good. Today's excursion was titled Messina and Its Treasures. During the day, we would marvel at the architectural and artistic treasures held dear by the Sicilians of Messina. After meeting our local tour guide, we drove along the Via Canizzaro to view the University, Court of Law, and the picturesque Corso Cavour. We enjoyed a photo stop on the hillside to see the votive temple of Christ the King, a Sicilian Baroque wonder, and to admire the views of the port in the Messina Strait. We then reboarded the motor coach to continue the panoramic tour along the north coast to Messina, which offers stunning vistas of the Ganzieri Lake and the Capo Peloro. The saltwater lakes are used by fishermen to breed clams and mussels, which feature heavily in the local cuisine. We then continued on a short drive to the heart of Messina's historic center. There we saw the expansive Piazza Municipale, the Via Garibaldi, and the Piazza Carioli, the heart of Old Town. The reconstruction of Messina's Norman and Romanesque Duomo, originally built by the Norman King Roger II and consecrated in 1197, has retained much of its original plan, including a handsome crown of Norman battlements, an enormous apse, and a splendid wood-beam ceiling. The adjoining bell tower contains one of the largest and most complex mechanical clocks in the world. Constructed in 1933, it has a host of gilded automatrons, which includes a roaring lion among them, that spring into action every day at the stroke of noon. Naples boasts a long history in a stunning seaside setting and is known for its pizza. The city has long been a major center of Italian culture and was the seat of a powerful independent kingdom for 500 years. So great was its sway that it lured the region's first architects and artists. Naples is Italy to the extreme. It boasts the best as the birthplace of pizza and the worst as the home of the Camorra, Naples' family of organized crime. Our tour guide said that many of the businesses throughout Naples have to pay a fee to the local organized crime organization in order for them to continue business uninterrupted. Today, Naples impresses visitors with one of Europe's top archaeological museums, which showcases the artistic treasures of Pompeii. There are fascinating churches and an underground of Greek and Roman ruins. It features fine works of art, including evocative nativity scenes. Of course, Neapolitans make great pizza and tasty pastries, but more than anything, Naples has a vibrant street life. Before Italy unified in the late 1800s, Naples was the country's richest city. But Naples' fortune nosedived when the capital of modern Italy was established in Rome. Things got so bad that many of its residents emigrated. The Italy America knows, pizza, spaghetti, and o solo mio, came from the 19th century Naples, as brought to the U.S. by all those immigrants. Naples is southern Italy's leading city, the third largest city in Italy, and Europe's most densely populated city, with more than 1 million people, and very few open spaces or parks. While in many ways it feels like an urban jungle, Naples surprises the observant traveler with its impressive knack for living, eating, and raising children with good humor and decency. Stopped in its tracks by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79, Pompeii offers the best look anywhere at what life in Rome must have been like around 2,000 years ago. A once thriving commercial port of 20,000, Pompeii grew from Greek and Etruscan roots to become an important Roman city. Then, on August 24th, AD 79, everything changed. Vesuvius erupted and began to bury the city under 30 feet of hot volcanic ash. For the archaeologists who excavated it centuries later, this was a shake-and-bake windfall, teaching them volumes about daily Roman life. Pompeii was accidentally rediscovered in 1599. Excavations began in 1748. Pompeii, founded in 600 BC, eventually became a booming Roman trading city. Not rich, not poor, it was middle class, a perfect example of a typical Roman life. Most streets would have been lined with stalls and jammed with customers from sunup to sundown. Chariots vied with shoppers for street space. 2,000 years ago, Rome controlled the entire Mediterranean, making it a kind of a free trade zone, and Pompeii was central and a bustling port. There were no posh neighborhoods in Pompeii. Rich and poor mixed it up as elegant estates existed side by side with simple homes, while nearby Herculaneum would have been a classier place to live. Traffic-free streets, fancier houses, and far better drainage. Pompeii was a place, though, for action and shopping. It served an estimated 20,000 residents with more than 40 bakeries, 130 bars, restaurants, and hotels, and 30 brothels. With most of its buildings covered by brilliant white ground marble stucco, Pompeii in AD 79 was an impressive town. Pompeii's commercial, religious, and political center stands at the intersection of the city's two main streets, While it's the most ruined part of Pompeii, it's grand nonetheless. Picture the piazza surrounded by two-story buildings on all sides. The pedestals that line the square once held statues of VIPs and various gods. In Pompeii's heyday, its citizens gathered here in the main square to shop, talk politics, and socialize. Business took place in the important buildings that line the piazza. The steam bathroom contained a double floor which was heated from below, so it was very nice for bare feet. The double walls with brown terracotta tiles held the heat. Romans soaked in the big tub, which was filled with hot water. Opposite the big tub was a fountain, which sprouted water onto the hot floor, creating steam. You'll find the biggest crowds in Pompeii at a place that was likely also quite popular 2,000 years ago, the brothel. Prostitutes were nicknamed lupe, which translates to she-wolves, alluding to the call they made when attracting business. The brothel was a simple place, with beds and pillows made of stone, and then covered with mattresses. The ancient graffiti includes tellies and exotic names of the women, indicating that prostitutes came from all corners of the Mediterranean. It also served as feedback from satisfied customers. The faded frescoes above the cells may have been a kind of menu for services offered. The bed legs came with little disc-like barriers to keep critters from crawling up. The tiny rooms had curtains for doors, and the prostitutes provided sheepskin condoms. Rome, Italy seems to have its own gravitational pull, attracting not only millions of tourists every year, but also the most creative artists and thinkers of every era. It is known as the Eternal City. The ruins of pagan temples have become the foundation of Christian churches. Ancient theaters have been made into medieval family fortresses, and Corinthian columns support new walls. The ages are layered, one atop of the other, but the flow of Roman life is ever forward, with a respect for its glorious past. All roads lead to this eternal city. Here, the ancient Romans created what we know as the Western civilization. This is where centuries later Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel, and where Bernini's Baroque nymphs still dance in their marble fountains. Today, the city remains a veritable Grand Canyon of culture. Ancient Rome rubs shoulders with the medieval, and the modern runs into the Renaissance. And the result is basically an open-air museum around every corner. And don't forget, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Immerse in your personal Dolce Vita at the Rome Marriott Grand Hotel Flora, on top of the noble Via Veneto and next door to the Villa Borghese Gardens and the 2,000-year-old historic Roman walls. This gracious edifice, with the stylish decor capturing the grandeur of neoclassicism, is exclusively designed for those looking for refined luxury in an atmosphere of sophistication and the highest level of welcoming hospitality, anticipating every need of today's business and leisure traveler. As you enter the room from the hallway, you are greeted by the first of the two-room suite. Here you will find a large king-size bed, flat-screen TV, sitting area, and a mini bar. The king-size bed was amazing, considering the previous week we were sleeping on tiny twin-size beds in our stateroom. During check-in, we were notified that we received a free upgrade from a standard room to a two-room suite. The second room features a desk with a chair, a large king-size bed, plenty of storage space, and a flat-screen TV. There is also a closet where you can hang some clothes. The bathroom was quite large, considering this is an older hotel. The shower was amazing, especially after the long walks during the day. And they even had a bidet. The Trevi Fountain is the ultimate showcase for Rome's love affair with water. Architect Nicola Salvi conceived this liquid Baroque avalanche in 1762, cleverly incorporating the palace behind the fountain as a theatrical backdrop. Center stage is the enormous figure known simply as the ocean. He symbolizes water in every form. The statue stands in his shell-shaped chariot, surfing through the water. Water gushes from 24 spouts and tumbles over 30 different kinds of plants. Winged horses represent cresting waves, and they're led by the Tritons who blow on their conch shells. Perhaps the most magnificent building surviving from ancient Rome is this temple to the Pantheon, which literally means all the gods. The centerpiece of the piazza that faces the Pantheon is a fountain. The obelisk that rises from the fountain originally decorated a temple to the Egyptian goddess Isis. The Pantheon is one of the wonders of the ancient world. The oculus is intended to symbolize the all-seeing eye of heaven. After the fall of Rome, the Pantheon became a Christian church, which saved it from architectural cannibalism and ensured its upkeep through the Dark Ages. In the 17th century, a Byzantine emperor stripped the dome's interior of its original golden tile ceiling. Think of all the history the Pantheon has seen. At Rome's peak, it was a temple to pagan gods. As Christianity took over the empire, the pagan priest became persona non grata, and the building crumbled along with the empire. When barbarians looted the city, they carried off some of the exterior marble, but the structure remained intact. In 609, it was saved from further architectural cannibalism when it became a Christian church, and the Virgin Mary replaced Jupiter at the high altar. The Piazza Navona is a long oblong square, dotted with fountains, busy with outdoor cafes, and lined with palazzos and churches. Piazza Navona has been a center of Roman life since ancient times. By its shape, you might guess that it started out as a racetrack. Part of the training grounds built here by Emperor Domitian around AD 80. That was the same year the Colosseum opened. Rome was at its peak at this time, but much of what we see today came in the 1600s when the whole place got a major renovation. At the time, the popes were trying to put some big scandals behind them, and the beautification projects like this were a peace offering to the public. 3 Baroque fountains decorate the piazza. The first fountain, at the southern end, features a Moor wrestling with a dolphin. In 17th century Rome, Moors, or North Africans, represented all that was exotic and mysterious. In the fountain at the northern end, Neptune slays a giant octopus. The most famous fountain, though, is in the center, the Four Rivers Fountain, designed by Gian Lorenzo Bernini, the man who in the mid-1600s remade Rome in the Baroque style. The fountain is topped with an Egyptian-style obelisk. At the base of Bernini's fountain are 4 enormous statues. As the water of the world gushes everywhere, these 4 burly river gods represent the 4 quarters of the world. Bernini enlivens the fountain with horses plunging through rocks and the exotic flora and fauna of faraway lands. The Castel Sant'Angelo was built in ancient times as a tomb for the Emperor Hadrian. It was used through the Middle Ages as a castle, prison, and a place of last refuge for popes under attack. However, today it is a museum. This giant pile of ancient bricks is packed with history. St. Peter's Square, with its ring of columns, symbolizes the arms of the church, welcoming everyone, believers and non-believers, into its motherly embrace. It was designed a century after Michelangelo by the Baroque architect Gian Bernini, who did much of the work that we see. There are 284 columns, 56 feet high, in stern Doric style. Topping them are Bernini's 140 favorite saints, each 10 feet tall. The square itself is actually elliptical, 660 by 550 feet. Though large, it's designed like a saucer, a little higher around the edges, so that even when full of crowds, it allows those on the periphery to see above the throngs. The glories of the ancient world displayed in a lavish papal palace, decorated by the likes of Michelangelo and Raphael. This is the Vatican Museum. A conglomerate of many sub-museums, the Vatican Museums hold some of the greatest art anywhere. The entrance building covers the ancient world, Egypt, Greece, and Rome. The building at the far end covers its rebirth in the Renaissance, including the Sistine Chapel. Athens set the tone for the rest of the West. Democracy, theater, economics, literature, and art all flourished in Athens during a 50-year golden age. Greek culture was then appropriated by Rome and revived again 1,500 years later during the Renaissance. The Renaissance popes built and decorated these papal palaces, recreating the glory of the classical world. Egyptian art was religious, not decorative. A statue or painting preserved the likeness of someone, giving him or her a form of eternal life. Most of the art was for tombs where they put the mummies. The jaw-dropping map gallery is the best place to appreciate the splendor of what this museum once was, the Pope's Palace. The crusted ceiling is pure papal splendor. The maps on the wall shows the regions of Italy from Sicily, Sardinia, and on. Popes could take visitors on a tour of Italy from this hallway. The Renaissance wing was the living quarters of the great Renaissance popes. This is where they slept, worked, and worshipped. These rooms reflect the grandeur of their position. They hired the best artists, mostly from Florence, to paint the walls and ceilings, combining classical and Christian motifs. The Long March is a quarter-mile-long walk that gives you a sense of the scale that Renaissance popes built on. Remember, this building was originally a series of papal palaces. The popes loved beautiful things: statues, urns, marble floors, friezes, stuccoed ceilings, and as heirs of imperial Rome, they felt they deserved such luxury. The palaces and art represent both the peak and the decline of the Catholic Church in Europe. It was extravagant spending like this that inspired Martin Luther to rebel, starting the Protestant Reformation. The grand centerpiece of the Vatican Museums is the Sistine Chapel. It contains Michelangelo's ceiling and the huge Last Judgment. The Sistine Chapel is the personal chapel of the Pope and the place where new popes are elected. Unfortunately, we were not able to take photographs or film inside the chapel. The wide, curving staircase of the Spanish Steps is one of Rome's most iconic sights. Its 138 steps lead sharply up from the Piazza di Spagna. Partway up, the steps fan out around the central terrace, forming a butterfly shape. The design culminates at the top in an obelisk framed between two Baroque church towers. For decades, the Spanish Steps have been a favorite destination for Romans. Likewise, the Piazza di Spagna features many of the themes one discovers in a tour of Rome. There are fountains, obelisks, public spaces, statues, and of course, gelato. The Piazza del Popolo is a vast oval square which marks the traditional north entrance to Rome. In 1480, Pope Sixtus IV recognized that the ramshackle medieval city was making a miserable first impression on pilgrims who walked here from all over Europe. He authorized city planners to appropriate property by establishing eminent domain. The city planners demolished old buildings and created a straight street to accommodate traffic. This was the first of several papal campaigns to spruce up the squares and to make it a suitable entrance for the grand city. The German monk Martin Luther would have been impressed when, after walking 700 miles from Germany, he entered the city through the gate in 1510. Of the 250 or so amphitheaters in the Roman Empire, this was the granddaddy of them all, the biggest, the most famous, and it had all the top-notch gladiators. Out-of-town visitors marveled at the biggest man-made structure they'd ever seen. Over time, the Flavian Amphitheater acquired a nickname, perhaps from the Colossus of Nero that stood outside, or maybe just because it was so darn big. A wonder of its age, it soon became known as the Colosseum. Looking into the complex web of passageways beneath the arena, imagine how busy the backstage action was. Gladiators strolled down the central corridor from their warm-up yard on the east end to the arena entrance on the west. Some workers tended wild animals, others prepared stage sets of trees or fake buildings, allowing the arena to be quickly transformed from an African jungle to a Greek temple. Props and sets were hauled up to the arena level on 80 different elevator shafts via a system of ropes and pulleys. That means that there were 80 different spots from which animals, warriors, and stage sets could pop up and magically appear. Built when the Roman Empire was at its peak in AD 80, the Colosseum represents Rome at its grandest. The Flavian Amphitheater, the Colosseum's original name, was an arena for gladiator contests and public spectacles. When killing became a spectator sport, the Romans wanted to share the fun with as many people as possible, so they stuck two semicircle theaters together to create a freestanding amphitheater, the largest in the empire. Imagine for a moment being an ancient spectator arriving for the games. Fans could pour in through ground floor entrances. There were 76 numbered ones, in addition to the emperor's private entrance on the north side. Your ticket, most likely a pottery shard, was marked with your entrance, section, row, and seat number. You'd pass by concession stands selling fast food and souvenirs, such as wine glasses bearing the names of famous gladiators. A hallway leading to the seats was called a vomitorium. At exit time, the Colosseum would vomit out its contents, giving the English word. It's estimated that a capacity crowd could enter and exit in just about 15 minutes. Legend has it that as long as the Colosseum stands, Rome will stand. And when Rome falls, so will the world. No visit to Rome is complete without a trip to this legendary oval that has been the iconic symbol of the city for centuries. The Arch of Constantine is the largest, sitting at 69 feet high, 85 feet long, and 23 feet wide. And it is the best preserved of Rome's triumphal arches, which was erected in AD 315. The Roman Forum was built in a marshy valley between the Capitoline and Palatine Hills. The Forum was the civic core of the Republican Rome, the austere era that preceded the hedonism of the emperors. The Forum was the political, commercial, and religious center of Roman life. Hundreds of years of plunder and the tendency of later Romans to carry off what was left behind to create better building materials reduced it to a series of ruins that you see today. Archaeological digs continue to uncover more about the site. The Forum was the political, religious, and commercial center of the city. Rome's most important temples and halls of justice were here. This was the place for religious processions, political demonstrations, elections, important speeches, and parades by conquering generals. As Rome's empire expanded, these few acres of land became the center of the civilized world. The Basilica Giulia, which owes its name to Julius Caesar, and who had it built, was where the Centrum Veri, the 100 or so judges forming the civil court, met to hear cases. The open space before it was the core of the Forum, and it became the prototype of Italy's famous piazzas. At the Roman Forum, you can wander among its lonely columns and great broken fragments of sculpted marble and stone. These once temples, law courts, and shops crowded with people from all corners of the known world. This was the heart of ancient Rome, and a symbol of the values that inspire Rome's conquest of an empire. The original Forum, or main square, was a flat patch about the size of a football field stretching from the foot of Capitoline Hill. Throughout Rome's long history, the square was the busiest and most crowded, and sometimes even the seediest section of town. Besides the senators and politicians and currency exchangers, there were even a sleazier type. There were souvenir hawkers, pickpockets, fortune tellers, gamblers, slave marketeers, drunks, prostitutes, lawyers, and even tour guides. The square atop of Capitoline Hill is known as Piazza del Capitolio. It was once the religious and political center of ancient Rome. It is still the home of the city's government. In the 1530s, the Pope called on Michelangelo to re-establish the square as a grand center. Michelangelo placed the ancient equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius as its focal point. Of Rome's famous 7 hills, Capitoline Hill is the smallest, tallest, and most famous. It is home of the ancient Temple of Jupiter and the center of city government for 2,500 years. Some of ancient Rome's most famous statues and art are housed in the 2 palaces that flank the equestrian statue and the Capitolio. The Piazza Venezia is a vast square dominated by the big white Victor Emmanuel Monument. It is a major transportation hub and the focal point of modern Rome. In the 1930s, Benito Mussolini whipped up Italy's nationalistic fervor from a balcony above the square. He gave 64 speeches from this balcony, including the declaration of war in 1940. On our last night in Rome, we had to stop and try some Italian ice cream. This quaint little gelato shop was the perfect destination. The staff were very kind and spoke English quite well. They took their time to explain the various gelato offerings available. They even allowed me to film inside their store.